I was looking forward to this trip more than I should have. It had been years since I traveled anywhere that wasn't a funeral, a hospital, or a family gathering that felt more like an obligation than an invitation. So when my daughter-in-law, Amanda, called to say she was organizing a family vacation to Florida, I was surprised. She sounded cheerful on the phone, saying it would be good for all of us to relax together. "It's time we made new memories," she said. "You should come, we already booked everything." I hesitated at first. Amanda and I had never been close, not really. Since she married my son Eric 10 years ago, she always kept me at arm's length. I was useful when they needed a babysitter or help with a down payment, but never quite welcome when it came to birthdays or holidays. Still, I wanted to believe this was a chance to reconnect. Maybe things had changed. Hold on a moment before we move forward. Let us know where in the world you're watching from. And if you're loving these stories, don't forget to hit subscribe. Tomorrow's episode is going to be absolutely mind-blowing. I offered to contribute to the trip. She declined. "Don't worry about it," Amanda said. "We've got it covered." I should have known then. The night before the flight, Eric called to confirm my travel details. He didn't say much, just that everything was ready and they'd meet me at the airport. I asked about the hotel. He brushed it off. "Don't worry, Mom. Amanda handled all of that." We landed in Orlando mid-afternoon. The kids were excited, running around the baggage claim while Amanda kept fussing with her phone. Eric came over, hugged me, said he was glad I made it. Then a man in a polo shirt holding a sign with my last name walked over. "You must be Mrs. Taylor. I'm your shuttle driver." I looked at Eric. "My shuttle?" Amanda jumped in. "Yeah, we figured it'd be easier to split up. The resort's check-in gets crazy with too many people at once. You'll be dropped off at your hotel, and we'll meet up later for dinner." The man took my bag before I could argue. I watched them walk toward a black SUV with a Disney decal on the window. The kids were already inside, and Amanda waved from the passenger seat. I didn't want to make a scene. I got in the shuttle. When we pulled up to the hotel, my heart dropped. It wasn't a hotel. It was a roadside motel with peeling paint and a broken vending machine buzzing under a flickering light. The sign out front read, "Sunset Budget Inn, weekly rates available." The driver looked unsure. "This is what I was told," he said, lifting my suitcase out of the trunk. The room smelled like cigarettes and mildew. The sheets were stained. The air conditioner rattled like it hadn't worked properly in years. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the brown carpet. I checked my phone. No messages, no missed calls, no apology. An hour passed before I texted Eric. "Me, are you sure this is the right place?" Eric. "Amanda said it's what was available. Everything else was full. We'll see you tomorrow at the water park." No mention of dinner. No mention of meeting up that night. I didn't respond. That first night, I didn't sleep well. The walls were paper thin, and I heard every argument, every footstep, every TV show playing too loud in the next room. I cried a little, quietly, into the pillow. I felt stupid, embarrassed, angry. But mostly, I felt forgotten. The next morning, I caught a cab to the resort. I had to see it for myself. It was massive, beautiful. Palm trees lined the driveway. Staff in matching uniforms smiled as they carried luggage. A fountain in the lobby sprayed colored lights across polished marble floors. I wandered through, feeling completely out of place. I found them by the pool, Eric, Amanda, and the kids, all in matching swim gear, sipping frozen drinks and plastic pineapples. Amanda's face dropped when she saw me. "Oh, you made it," she said, standing up but not offering a hug. "We didn't expect you this early." Eric looked uncomfortable. "Didn't you like the hotel?" I stared at them both. I couldn't even form the words. I just said, "I thought we were all staying together." Amanda laughed a little. "We didn't think you'd be comfortable with all the noise, and there weren't any more rooms available here anyway. Plus, it's just easier this way. You have your space, we have ours. Space." That word echoed in my head the rest of the day. They didn't invite me to lunch. I took the shuttle back to the motel around 4 p.m. I spent the evening watching reruns on a fuzzy TV while someone argued outside my door. By the third day, I stopped trying to meet up. No one checked in on me. Amanda posted pictures online of them at theme parks, boat tours, fancy dinners. Not once did she mention I was there too. I wasn't even tagged. That night, I found the original trip reservation confirmation in my email. I clicked through the links, and that's when I saw it. The resort confirmation, billing information included, my name, my credit card. It hit me all at once. 3 months ago, Amanda had borrowed my card. She said it was for a deposit on a dentist appointment that wouldn't accept cash. I told her to use it and just let me know what it came to. She never mentioned it again. I had forgotten. She used my card to book the resort. I went back to my statements. Multiple charges. Not just the resort. Park tickets, meal packages, spa services, all within the last 2 weeks. My name. My card. I sat there in that filthy motel room, my hands shaking, realizing that not only had they left me out, I had paid for it, and they had put me in this dump like I was some stray dog. They didn't want me there. They just wanted what I could give. That night, I didn't sleep, and by morning I wasn't sad anymore. I was done. I didn't tell Eric or Amanda what I had found. Not immediately. I spent most of that morning just sitting on the motel bed staring at the screen on my phone. The resort confirmation was still open. My full name, my card number, partially masked. The charges weren't minor. 2 rooms for 5 nights, with the upgraded meal plan and early access to the parks. Over $3,700 charged to my account. I checked the rest of my statement. There were smaller charges too, $140 for tickets to SAU. The kids' pirate cruise, $89 for character dining, $160 at a spa. Then I saw the final insult. A charge for Amanda's new swimsuit boutique, $245. I locked my card. The motel room was dark and quiet, except for the steady rattle of the wall AC. I didn't cry, not this time. I just sat there, my jaw clenched, phone still in my hand. I replayed every moment of the last few weeks in my head. The way Amanda had smiled when she asked to use my card, how casually Eric had said, "Everything's covered," the way they had avoided every opportunity to involve me on this trip. They had planned this. Amanda booked me into this place on purpose. They took my money and stuck me in a dump, then paraded around like I was some charity case tagging along. By 10 a.m., I was packed. I called a taxi and went straight to the resort. Not to argue, I had no intention of yelling in the middle of a pool deck. I just wanted to see it one more time, to remind myself exactly what I'd paid for and been excluded from. The bellman opened the cab door. "Checking in?" he asked. "No," I said. "Just passing through." The lobby was full of people. A family in matching shirts posed for a photo near the fountain. A little girl in a princess dress skipped past, waving a plastic wand. I walked through quietly and turned toward the back courtyard. I knew where they'd be. Amanda loved taking poolside pictures for her Instagram, and there they were. Eric was lying on a lounge chair, holding his phone above his face. Amanda was sitting on the edge of the hot tub, legs in the water, chatting with another woman. The kids were splashing in the shallow end. Everything looked perfect. I stood there for a few seconds. No one noticed me. Then I turned and walked to the concierge desk. "Can I help you?" the woman asked politely. "Yes," I said. "I need a printed copy of all the charges made under this reservation number. And I'd like to know if there's been any room service or additional purchases added in the last 3 days." She raised an eyebrow. "Are you the card holder?" I handed her my ID. "Yes, it's my name on the billing." She typed for a few minutes, then handed me 2 sheets of paper. It was all there. Every dinner, every spa treatment, every extra park ticket. And it was all tied to Amanda's email. "Thank you," I said, folding the paper carefully and placing it into my purse. I left the resort and didn't look back. Back at the motel, I sat down at the small desk near the window and began writing. Not a text, not an email. I wrote a letter. I took my time. I didn't use fancy language. I didn't yell on the page. I just told the truth. I listed every charge, every lie. I reminded them that I had helped with the down payment for their house, that I'd co-signed the loan on Eric's car, that I'd paid for Amanda's dental surgery last year without ever asking for anything back. I told them this wasn't just about money. It was about how they saw me, how they had made it crystal clear that I was not part of their life unless they could gain something from it, and then I ended it simply. From this day forward, I will no longer be involved in your finances. Do not ask me to pay for anything again. And do not assume my silence means approval. This was the last time. I signed my name. I folded the letter neatly and placed it into a blank envelope. Then I ordered another cab. When I arrived at the resort again, I didn't go looking for them. I walked straight to the front desk and asked them to deliver the envelope to Amanda's room. The young woman behind the counter hesitated, but I showed my ID again and said, "They'll know who it's from." She nodded and placed the envelope into the mail slot behind her. I didn't wait. The cab driver looked surprised when I got in again. "Not staying? I've seen everything I needed to." I flew home that evening, changed my flight myself, bought the ticket with the emergency credit card I'd kept in my drawer at the motel. I didn't text Eric. I didn't say goodbye. By the time they realized I was gone, I was already in my living room with a cup of tea. 2 days later, my phone rang. It was Eric. I let it go to voicemail. He left a message. "Mom, we need to talk. Amanda said you left early. She's really upset. She said you embarrassed her at the front desk. Can we talk about this? Please call me." I didn't call back. That evening, Amanda sent me a long email. It was full of excuses. She said she didn't realize how bad the motel was. She claimed she only used my card because things got tight last minute. She said she was hurt by my letter and that I had overreacted. I deleted it. The next morning, I called my lawyer. I told him I wanted to revise my will. It had only been 3 days since I got back home, but it felt like weeks. The first day, I turned off my phone completely. I didn't want to see Eric's name pop up, and I didn't want to read another fake apology from Amanda. I needed silence, real silence, not the kind you get in a motel room while people celebrate without you down the road, the kind where no one asks anything of you. No one expects you to play along. On the second day, I made a list. I opened my file cabinet, the one in the hallway that had started to overflow years ago. I sorted everything: mortgage documents, insurance policies, old receipts, school records. I'd saved for my grandkids, bank statements. I wasn't looking for revenge. I just wanted to be clear about what was mine and what I was still giving away. I found the paperwork for the car I'd helped Eric finance 2 years ago. It was in my name. I found a document showing that I was still listed as a secondary on the house loan, something Amanda had insisted was just temporary. I found account records for the credit card Amanda used, the one she promised to destroy after that dental procedure last fall. It was still active. That same day, I called my bank. I asked them to permanently close the card. Then I called the loan company and started the process to remove my name from Eric's auto loan. It would affect his rate, they said. I said I didn't care. By the end of the day, I had cut all financial ties to them. On the morning of day 3, I met with Mr. Colburn, my attorney. He was the one who had helped me set up my will 5 years ago, shortly after my husband died. Back then, I was emotional, still trying to keep the family together after his passing. I had made Eric the executor. I had left Amanda a small inheritance. I had even listed my oldest grandchild as a co-beneficiary of a savings bond. I walked into his office with a different attitude this time. "I want to change everything," I said, placing the folder on his desk. He looked surprised at first, but he didn't ask questions. He opened the file and began reviewing what I brought. "Are we removing them completely?" he asked carefully. "Yes," I answered. "All of them. Every name." I paused for a second. "At least for now." I nodded. We went line by line through the will. I left a few things to charity: the local library, the the church I used to volunteer at before Amanda made me feel guilty for wasting time. I left a portion to my niece in Arizona, who had never asked me for a thing, but always sent me a Christmas card. I created a trust for emergency medical services in the county, in my late husband's name. As for Eric and Amanda, they got nothing. I want that clearly written, I told Mr. Colburn. I don't want confusion later. I don't want some letter showing up with excuses. When it was done, he printed the new draft. I read every word. Then I signed it. That afternoon, I turned my phone back on. I had 17 missed calls. Eric's number appeared 10 times. Amanda's 4. 2 others from a blocked number. There were also 6 voicemails. I didn't listen to the older ones. Just the most recent one, left around 9:30 that morning. Eric, Mom, I don't know what's going on. Amanda said you canceled everything. You shut down the card, you're pulling your name off the loan. Look, I get that you were upset about the hotel thing, but this feels extreme. Can we just talk? Please call me. He sounded tired. Not sorry, just tired. There was no apology, no ownership, no responsibility. He didn't even try to say that. What they did was wrong, just that my reaction was extreme. I deleted the message. That night, Amanda finally tried texting again. Long paragraph, full of carefully chosen words. She said I had taken things too personally. She said she was trying to include me in her own way. She mentioned how hard things were with the kids, how expensive everything had become. She said she assumed I'd be more comfortable at a quieter place, and that she never meant any disrespect. I didn't reply. Instead, I pulled out my calendar and circled the date. April 19th, the day I rewrote my will. The next morning, I went to the pharmacy. My prescriptions had been paid through an automatic family account I shared with Eric. I hadn't realized that until they asked for my old card and it got declined. The clerk asked if I wanted to call someone to fix it. I shook my head. No, I'll pay myself. That night, Eric called again. I picked up, not because I wanted to hear what he had to say, but because I needed to say what I hadn't yet. Mom, thank you for answering, he said right away. I didn't say anything. Look, I know you're upset. And yeah, Amanda shouldn't have done what she did with the card. I didn't know she booked that hotel. I thought you were okay with it. I let the silence stretch. She told me you offered to help. I didn't realize the charges were that high until you canceled it. I finally spoke. Did you ask her why she used my card without permission? She said she had access and just forgot to switch it over. It wasn't malicious. Eric, I said calmly, it wasn't just the card. It was how you treated me. You let me stay in a dump while you and your wife used my money to live in a resort. You didn't call once. You didn't check. You saw the room. You knew. He started to respond. I cut him off. I'm done paying for people who treat me like I'm disposable. I don't care if it was Amanda's idea or yours. I'm out of the picture now. Financially, legally, emotionally. I've rewritten my will. I've closed the accounts. I don't owe you explanations. He was quiet for a long time. Then, you're cutting us off? No, Eric. You cut me off years ago. I'm just making it official. I hung up. I stood there for a moment after the call ended. The room felt quiet. My chest felt heavy, but my hands were steady. For the first time in a long time, I knew exactly where I stood. The phone call stopped after that last conversation with Eric. For 3 days, I didn't hear from either of them. No calls, no messages, no emails. Not even a passive-aggressive comment on Facebook from Amanda, which was unusual for her. I thought maybe they had finally understood. Maybe they realized they had gone too far and knew it was better to stay silent. I was wrong. On the 4th day, a package arrived at my doorstep. No return address. Just a padded envelope with my name scribbled across it in Amanda's handwriting. Inside was a framed photo of the whole family from the trip. The one I wasn't in. Eric, Amanda, the 2 kids, all smiling in front of a roller coaster, arms raised, sunshine everywhere. Underneath it, a small note was taped to the glass. This is what you walked away from. Family. That was the last straw. It wasn't just tone deaf. It was deliberate. They weren't trying to apologize. They were trying to guilt me. Again, like they always had, trying to make me feel like I was the one who caused the distance, when they were the ones who used me, ignored me, and discarded me the second I wasn't useful. I placed the photo in the bottom drawer of my kitchen cabinet and shut it. I sat at the table and opened my laptop. Wrote one email, one and only one. It was addressed to both Eric and Amanda. Subject, enough. I kept it short. Eric, Amanda, I received the photo. I understand what you meant by it. You've made your feelings clear. So let me make mine. This isn't temporary. This isn't just about a vacation. This is about a lifetime of being treated like an afterthought. I will not fund your lifestyle anymore. I will not support behavior that devalues me, and I will not accept being emotionally blackmailed. Consider this the final communication regarding this matter. If you continue to send messages like that, I will consider it harassment. Mom, I hit send. No more back and forth. No more justifications. The next morning, I went to the bank and closed the joint savings account I had originally opened for emergencies, the one Eric had access to. It had $12,300 in it. I transferred the full amount into a new account under my name only. That afternoon, I received a call from the bank manager. He said Eric had come in asking about the account. I told him I had already transferred it and that no further action was required. He seemed uncomfortable but professional. Is there a reason your son thought the account still belonged to him? I answered clearly. Because he's used to assuming everything I have is his. That evening, Eric finally called again. This time, I didn't pick up. He left a voicemail, his voice low and irritated. I can't believe you emptied that account. That money was supposed to help with the kids' school enrollment next month. Amanda's furious. She says you're being vindictive. I don't even know who you are anymore. I didn't respond. Instead, I called the private elementary school where their oldest child, my grandson Jamie, was set to begin next fall. I had paid the enrollment fee the year before, without hesitation, because Eric said they couldn't afford it. They hadn't followed up with the school, and I wanted to be sure nothing was pending in my name. The woman on the phone was polite but clear. Yes, Mrs. Taylor, your name is still on the payment file as the original sponsor. Tuition is due in 3 weeks for the upcoming term. Are you confirming payment? No, I said. Please remove my name. They'll be handling it themselves from now on. She paused, then confirmed it would be done. I hung up. That same night, Amanda finally called me directly. I picked up. I didn't say hello. So that's it? She said. You're just cutting everyone off? No explanation? No discussion? You had your discussion, I replied. It was called a vacation. You excluded me and used my money to fund it. Oh, please, she snapped. You weren't even supposed to come. You inserted yourself into the trip last minute. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was invited. Out of politeness, she said. The silence that followed was cold and long. I said, You've made it clear how you feel about me, Amanda. And now I've made it clear how I feel about you. This conversation is over. I hope you realize what you're doing to your grandchildren, she added. They're your responsibility, not mine. I hung up. I didn't wait for another call. The next week, things started unraveling for them faster than I expected. First, Eric's car insurance contacted him. Since I had co-signed the loan, I had also bundled the policy under my name. I had now removed my name from both the loan and the insurance. Their premium jumped by $112 a month. Then the school sent out payment reminders. Without my name on file, the balance went to Eric and Amanda directly. They were not ready for that. 3 days later, I got another email. This time, from Eric. Mom, I don't know what you're trying to prove, but we're struggling. Jamie's tuition is due. We can't afford the increase in car insurance. You know the kids didn't do anything wrong. They love you. I get that you're angry at Amanda, but don't punish all of us. Can't we meet and talk like adults? I didn't reply. I forwarded the email to a folder I created called Receipts, just in case. Amanda, meanwhile, began a new approach. Guilt through social media. She posted a vague message on Facebook. People pretend to be loving family, but when things get real, they disappear. Sad how money changes people. One of her friends commented, "Are you okay?" She replied, "Just disappointed in someone we trusted." I didn't respond. I didn't even like or react to the post. But that night, I opened my drawer, took out the photo they mailed, and quietly shredded it into pieces. I didn't feel angry anymore. I felt free. It had been about 2 weeks since I'd returned from Florida and cut all ties, financial and otherwise, with Eric and Amanda. I hadn't spoken to them since the last phone call with Amanda, and apart from a few passive-aggressive Facebook posts, they kept quiet. Until now. On a Tuesday morning, I walked out to get the mail and found a thick white envelope stuffed into the box. No stamps. It hadn't come through the postal service. Someone had driven to my house and left it there. The handwriting on the front was Eric's. I brought it inside, sat at the kitchen table, and opened it. Inside were 6 pages stapled together. The first was a letter. The rest were printed documents, bank statements, car payment notices, and what looked like a breakdown of school tuition costs. I didn't bother reading every line. I read enough. Eric wrote that things had gotten unbearable. He said they were falling behind on bills. Amanda had to cancel her gym membership. The insurance was overdue. They were considering pulling Jamie out of private school. He even mentioned they were looking into food assistance programs. He ended the letter with one sentence in bold. "I know you're upset, but we're still your family." That line made me pause. I set the letter down and got up to make a cup of coffee. I didn't respond immediately. I needed to think. The next day, I got a text from Amanda. "Eric told me he left the letter. He's trying to fix this. Don't ignore him. Please just meet us. We can work something out." I didn't answer. 2 days later, I got a knock at the door. When I opened it, Eric was standing there alone, hands in his jacket pockets, looking tired. "I'm not here to argue," he said quickly. "I just want to talk." I stepped aside, letting him in. He looked around the house like it was unfamiliar, even though he'd grown up in it. He didn't comment on anything. He just sat at the dining table and waited. "I know we screwed up," he started. I didn't interrupt. "I should have spoken up when Amanda booked your room. I should have double-checked the charges. I didn't. I let her take control because it was easier. I didn't want to fight on vacation." I nodded. "You didn't think I'd notice." "No, I didn't think you'd care that much," he admitted. That sentence stayed in the air longer than it should have. "I cared," I said. "I still do. But not in the way you think." He rubbed his face. "We're drowning, Mom. I didn't realize how much you were covering until everything stopped. The insurance, the tuition, even the card." "I know," I said. "I'm not asking for everything back, but maybe just help us catch up? One time. We're trying to make changes." "No," I replied. "I won't do that." He looked surprised, not angry, just surprised, like he expected some version of a maybe or "I'll think about it," but not a straight no. "I've given too much without any appreciation. You didn't just let Amanda exclude me. You watched it happen. You didn't think I'd care because you stopped treating me like a person who matters." "I'm sorry," he said. "I didn't know it would go this far." I leaned forward. "It went this far because no one stopped it. And now you're here because things are uncomfortable, not because you understand the damage." He didn't answer right away. He looked down at the table. "I'm trying, Mom." "I believe that," I said. "But I'm not going to reward trying with another check." He nodded slowly. We sat there for another minute in silence. Then he stood up. "I'll go. But can I ask you something?" "Go ahead." "If things get worse, if we can't make rent or something, would you want to know? Or would you rather be done completely?" I didn't answer right away. "I don't want to see my grandkids suffer," I finally said. "But I'm done with being used. If you need help, it comes with terms. That means no Amanda handling anything. everything in writing. No last-minute phone calls or guilt trips. And one more thing. He looked up. I want you to tell your kids the truth someday. Not now. Not when they're little. But one day, I want them to know how this happened. I don't want Amanda's version to be the only one they hear. Eric nodded. Okay. He walked to the door, paused, then turned back. I know we don't deserve another chance, but I appreciate that you opened the door. I didn't reply. I watched him leave. That evening, I wrote in my notebook. I kept one now, mostly to stay grounded. I didn't trust memory alone anymore. I wrote the date, what Eric said, what I said, and every condition I'd made clear. No more vague conversations. No more letting things slide. The next week passed, quietly. No messages, no letters. I finally felt a bit of space returning to my daily routine. I returned to my book club. I went grocery shopping without rushing. I sat in my garden and didn't check my phone once, but Amanda couldn't stay quiet for long. That Saturday, she posted another message on Facebook. Some people only love you when you're useful. When you stop giving, they stop caring. I didn't comment. I didn't respond. But I knew exactly who she was talking about. And for the first time in years, I didn't care. A full month passed without any new contact from Eric or Amanda. No phone calls, no letters, no sudden visits. 4. The first time in years I stopped checking my phone out of habit. I stopped watching over my shoulder for guilt trips, or monitoring my email for passive-aggressive messages masked as concern. It was quiet, and the quiet stayed. I adjusted slowly. I started my mornings without stress. I had coffee on the porch and read the paper. I called a few old friends I hadn't spoken to in years. I cleaned out closets I had ignored since my husband died. I gave away bags of clothes, boxes of old dishes, things I had kept in case someone needed them. But no one ever asked. One afternoon, I stopped by the community center near my neighborhood. I had passed the sign for their weekly group events dozens of times. I never had the time, or rather, I was always too busy making time for other people. That day, I walked inside and picked up a schedule. 3 days later, I went to my first class, beginner's yoga. I wasn't flexible, and I didn't care. I liked how nobody asked where I'd come from or who I was related to. A week later, I joined their monthly gardening group. I signed up for an afternoon shift at the library volunteer desk. I didn't tell anyone. I just did it. My world got smaller, but steadier. It was early May when Eric reached out again. This time, it wasn't a phone call or an email. It was a short handwritten letter delivered through the mail in a plain envelope. No bolded lines, no emotional appeals, just a few sentences. Hi, Mom. I know things haven't gone the way they should have. I've been thinking a lot about what you said. I don't expect anything, but I wanted you to know I've been looking for work. I took a second job on weekends. Amanda's still upset, but I'm trying to keep things stable for the kids. I won't ask for anything else. I just wanted to say I'm sorry again. I understand now. Eric. I read it twice. Then I folded it, put it in a drawer, and went back to what I was doing. I didn't reply. Not because I was angry, but because there was nothing left to clarify. He understood. He said what he needed to say. And for now, that was enough. I didn't erase him from my life. But I stopped living as if his approval, or his family's comfort, was more important than my peace. That week, I received a call from the elementary school. The administrator thanked me for updating the payment contact a month earlier. Apparently, Amanda had finally arranged a payment plan. It wasn't perfect, but it was in her name. They were figuring it out. That Saturday, I spent the day cleaning my front porch and repotting some plants I'd been neglecting. A neighbor passed by and waved. I waved back. In the evening, I made a simple dinner. Nothing fancy, just something I liked, and I ate at the table, alone, but not lonely. As I cleaned up afterward, my phone buzzed. A new message. It was from an unknown number. but I knew who it was. "Hi, Grandma. It's Jamie. I asked Daddy for your number. I just wanted to say I miss you. I hope you're doing okay. Can we talk sometime?" It was the first time I'd heard directly from him. I sat down on the couch and stared at the message. I didn't answer right away. I read it 3 more times, then set the phone down on the cushion. I thought about what came next. I could respond. I could open the door, a little, but only on my terms. This time, there would be no more unspoken expectations, no quiet tolerance of disrespect, no giving while pretending not to notice what it cost me. This time, if I let them back in, even a little, it would be because I chose it, not because I was guilted into it. I picked up the phone and typed 1 line. "Hi, Jamie. I miss you." 2. I hit send. Then I stood up, walked outside, and sat on the porch. The air was still. The house was quiet. And for the first time in a long time, I knew exactly what I deserved.